Let's see what that does. All right. Let's see if this is working. Are we live? Are we live, people? I think we are. I think this is working. All right, cool. Oh, hey, Comic Relief Crusader. Good to see you. And why isn't that? Yeah, I don't know why that isn't working. V. Yeah, that should be a link to have people be able to come on the stream, on the panel with me. Again, I'm new to this, and I'm not sure if that link is going to work. We shall see. And it doesn't seem to be a link you can click on. Damn it, that is what I copied. So we shall see. Damn. There we go. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Hopefully. Oh, hey, Comic Crusader. Hey, the lovely Sherry. Good to see you. Yeah, I really would like to be able to post a link in this chat so that I could have people come on, but I've been able to do that before, but I just can't get it to work right now. Boy, that sure would be good if I could. Thank you. The Comic Relief Crusader in the chat says I shared the link, dude. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. That's awesome. But yeah, I'm really encouraged. I'm really positive, really optimistic about what's going on in Canada right now, and hopefully around the world. I've got friends in Australia. I've got family in Australia, and I hear that they have a Freedom Convoy going on to Canberra as well. And I hope they're successful because, I lived in Australia for a couple of years. Certainly doesn't make me an expert, but I know that they have a lot of similar values to Canadians. And they love freedom as much as we do. So, yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Freedom for everybody, right? No. That one fell out of the fire. We'll put this one back. Not a bad fire going. Not a bad. Oh, hey, Maura. I appreciate that. She said I started the stream for you to talk on. I appreciate that. But I don't know how much I'm going to be talking here. I know that Cardinal Sin also is doing a stream as well and invited me on for the same thing. So I'll go on his first since he invited first. But I appreciate it. Thank you. But it shouldn't be that hard. I mean, I'm not a fucking dumbass. I'm not even drunk. I should be able to figure out the link to be able to get people to come on the panel with me. I mean, it's not exactly user-friendly here. If anyone knows how to do that, please tell me. That would be great. But thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it, Comic Crusader. Moira, yeah. Cardinal is pretty cool, Moira. You're not wrong. I do like the guy. Well, plus I've been friends with him for a long time. But yeah, no, I'm hoping to get this. I'm hoping to be able to figure out how to share this and get people to come on the stream. That'd be great. With an actual link that will allow people into the back room here. It shouldn't be that hard. You would think I'd be able to figure that out. Because I'd really like to have a panel of people from around the world who have various opinions on their own constitution. You know, I'm sure that there are people who feel the same way, who are not necessarily Canadian. You know, the Australians are not happy with their lockdown and just lack of input from the people. It just seems that the leaders are just arbitrarily doing whatever the fuck they want with, and thinking that they can just do that without any input from the people. I think Canadians have had enough, and I think Trudeau's right now in hiding, shitting his fucking pants because there's so many pissed off people. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of pissed off people, no doubt. Of course. What did they think was going to happen? You know, you restrict us. You limit our freedoms, and that you've got to show justification for that. I mean, that's in the fucking Constitution. They haven't shown justification for it at all. Hey, the Time Prophet. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. So, what I was going to show you on here is a video that I managed to capture earlier today. This is Justin Trudeau's interview on a Quebec television station recently, saying people who are unvaccinated are, quote, misogynists. There, we'll get the words right there. Oh shit, they're backwards. I don't know if you can see that because it's the camera. These are extremists. All right, I'll read it. In science. This is what he's saying. These are extremists who
a small select group.
Don't believe in science.
But
These
we
are a
are
small
taking
select
up
group.
space.
And we are taking up space. He's talking about the unvaccinated.
And we have to make a choice. Do we tolerate these people?
Right. He actually said, do we tolerate
Take
the
my word for
unvaccinated?
it.
It's in French. We know people who are still making up their minds, and we will try to convince them. But there's also people who are vehemently opposed to vaccinations. These are the extremists who do not believe in science. These are often misogynists, often racist too. It is a small group, and they are taking up space. Yeah. Do we tolerate these people? There's him speaking on a Quebec TV show, a Quebec news television program. Those are the words that he said. All right? That's what our leader. And that was brought to you by Western Standard. Thank you, Western Standard. They put that video on YouTube. Absolutely full shout out to Western Standard for putting that there. But I had a hard time finding that video. You cannot find that video on mainstream media. The Trudeau saying that unvaccinated people are misogynists, they're racists, they have and they shouldn't be tolerated. We're taking up space. I'm not vaccinated. A lot of my friends are not vaccinated. I think even people that are vaccinated have a serious problem with him saying that. We're taking up space. We won't be tolerated. There's a certain German leader back in the 30s that said things like that. He was not a nice man. He was a bad man. Kind of sounds the same to me. I'm a misogynist? I'm a racist? I paid thousands of dollars out of my own pocket to go to university and study cultures and to travel around the world to 50 different countries just to see people in other countries, meet them, talk to them, experience their culture. I've been to weddings in Japan. I've been to funerals in India. Actually, no, that's backwards. I've been to funerals in Japan and weddings in India. Filipino celebrations for babies. When the newborn has come, the Filipinos, the ones that I am friends with, have big parties and food. I'm not a racist. You can go through my closets. You can dig all the skeletons out of my closets, talk to anyone in my history. There's no evidence of me being a racist or a misogynist. I've lived with 5 women, wonderful women. I'm still friends with them all. You're a liar and you're wrong, Trudeau. I'm not even going to put Prime Minister in front of your name. You don't deserve it. Justin Trudeau, you're wrong. You're a goddamn liar. A lot of us are not racists or misogynists. You piss me off. I'll put my money where my mouth is too. Yeah, go through my history. You're not going to find anything. Talk to whoever you want. Let's see. I know 2 occasions that Justin Trudeau appeared in public in blackface. Yeah, it's all over. It's not hard to find that. So who's racist? Who's misogynist? Who doesn't believe in science? I fucking went to university and studied science. I paid money to study chemistry and science. I don't believe in science. Are you kidding? You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You're a goddamn liar. I'd love to get in a boxing match with you. I've got no experience in boxing, but I know Trudeau does. I've seen him amateur box. He's actually got quite a bit of experience amateur boxing. I don't care. I'll fight for my freedom. I'll fight for my rights. I'll go in a boxing match with you in a ring. I got no experience. You're going to fucking lose. I'll take you down in a second. I give you 20 seconds. 20 seconds, you're crying like a little soy bitch that you are. Yeah, anyway. I'm pissed off. A lot of Canadians are pissed off. Have you seen the size of the convoy in Ottawa? The surrounding the Parliament buildings. Before the western leg of the convoy, before the eastern leg of the convoy even arrived in Ottawa, there's 200 truckers that have basically blockaded and surrounded the Parliament buildings in downtown Ottawa. There's thousands. I've heard upwards of 2,000 plus trucks, thousands of additional cars showing up. They've already blockaded Ottawa so deeply, so thickly, that they're turning away trucks. You can't even get into the downtown core anymore. They're full. And Trudeau said that it's just a small minority of Canadians with wrong thinking. He actually said the protesters in Ottawa right now have wrong thinking. Don't take my word for it. Go online. You see the signs that everyone are holding up. Everyone in the protest involved is holding up. They say freedom. They say we want freedom. So according to Justin Trudeau, wanting freedom is wrong thinking. I mean, he said that himself. The signs that everyone has at these protests, what do the majority of signs say? Freedom. Give us back our rights. That's wrong thinking, according to Justin Trudeau. Do I have a video? Do I have a receipt for what I'm saying? Do I have proof? Yes, I fucking do. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay, so the views expressed by the protesters, which you can Google anything you want, you can find them. Those views are freedom, the right to choose, and transparency. So those are the views that you just saw Justin Trudeau say are not acceptable, that they're wrong, that the majority of Canadians, you just heard him say it, you saw him say it, the majority of Canadians do not hold values of freedom
open government, and the right to choose, bodily autonomy. Most Canadians don't hold those values. He just said it. National TV. He's a fucking idiot. He's toast. He's done. He's done. Narat Maximander. Hey, man. Good to see you. Or I'm assuming you're a man. Could be a woman. I don't care. Either way. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Awesome, man. Good to be here. Good to have you here. The Time Prophet. Man, you're all the way from England, man. Good to see you here. Trudeau put a virus in my phone. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that video, but I had another one. But you have a hard time finding these videos of Trudeau saying this shit against Canadians. The mainstream media is just closing it down. But it's there. You can find it. It is absolutely crazy. I know a lot of people from around the world are showing support. A lot of Americans, a lot of Australians, a lot of people from Serbia. I had a gentleman in the chat earlier. I appreciate it. We've all got to stick together. One thing that the government seems to be really dead set upon is negativity, dividing Canadians, putting us all against each other. You know, they're really good at dividing us. They're trying to divide us. That's done. That's over. If you go and look at people who are covering the protest in Ottawa that's going on right now, to a person, they're saying they've never seen the amount of compassion and unity in the last 2 years anyway. So that's really good to see. And I think it's going to grow bigger and stronger. And it's about unity. The government's not going to be able to divide us any longer. The Time Prophet asks in the chat, do you get a lot of wolves here? We do have wolves, the Time Prophet. Yeah, they're up in the mountains around us. Not right around my yard. I did get 3 deer, 3 big does. Walked through the yard this morning. I've got a video of that, actually. Yeah, I've got it on my phone. I'll put that up on the channel later. But so where the deer are, there's generally wolves not too far. So they're around, but I haven't seen, I think I've only seen 2 in this area in person recently, in the last couple of years anyway. Gap Stargate, welcome. Good to see you. Just a second, folks. I'm going to need a drink. I don't know how much longer my voice is going to hold out. This has definitely been a day for vodka. Moira Kitty in the chat says, love from Oklahoma to Canada. Love to Oklahoma, Moira Kitty. Moira Kitty, thank you. And I know I know a lot of support is coming up from the States. And I know Canada and America like to have friendly banter. We like to make fun of each other. Shit, we're like brothers and sisters. We do that all the time. But when it comes to it, when shit hits the fan, whether it's with China or Russia or whatever, Americans and Canadians, we've always stuck up for each other. We've always been brothers and sisters in arms. And I think that what's going on right now in Canada, the support that we feel from America, we're noticing it. We're seeing it. And other countries around the world. I've already said Australia. Yeah. If America needs us, Canada's there. I've heard reports of up to 12,000 trucks coming up from America to join Canada in Ottawa. There's no more room for them in downtown, but hell, come on up and park outside and catch public transportation in. And the same would happen. If America was having this happen, you'd get Canadians coming over, streaming over in support. America and Canada have always supported each other. Notwithstanding the friendly banter and that's part of it, right? That's family. Wow, it is getting dark here, folks. I'm gonna turn on a light. If I have any available ports, I think I do. That's what she said. There we go. That's better. All right. Glad to see everyone here. Gap Stargate in the chat says, we all stand together. Fucking right, man. Fucking right, we do. Narata Maximanbar says, like that time the Canadian and Americans joined forces to defeat Iceland at hockey. I'm not familiar with that, but boy, that'd be funny if that's true. I'd love to watch that in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Moira Kitty in the chat says, anywhere is parking if you're bold enough. True story. Definitely. Sometimes you go to the parking lots here in Canada and you see snowplow trucks, like just guys with pickup trucks, the snowplow on the front. And the big excavators put the parking lot, big snow piles up this deep, and there's no parking spaces. They'll just drive up the park on the snowbank. It's like, fuck it, it's a parking space. I've got four-wheel drive. Exactly. I saw snowmobiles going to the protests in Ottawa right now that are surrounding the Parliament buildings. There's people on snowmobiles. The farmers. Have you seen the convoy of farm tractors coming from Ontario that have arrived in Parliament? So there's farm tractors. There's construction cranes with giant Canadian flags on them. This is waking up all of Canada. This is amazing. This is big. Okay. The Time Prophet in the chat says, Canadian Spider-Man, how far is the nearest house from you? I might be able to hit it with a snowball, my house. I'm just out in my back property. Well, I don't own it, but I rent it. Yeah, I could probably hit the house with a snowball. My neighbors, I can see them. I can see one house. I can see two houses. Sort of see through the trees. My street's like 2 miles long. I think we have 4 houses on it. So is that 4? Yeah, that's 4. Just checking. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. The Comic Relief Crusader in the chat says, to America, come on in. Sit a spell and kick your feet up. Glad to have you over. Gap Stargate in the chat says USCA, US and Canada. You know what? And fuck it. Canada is friends and supports countries all over the world. I know we have strong ties with Poland, New Zealand, Australia, India. Fucking A, we've got to stand up for each other. Absolutely. When our problem right now in Canada is that all of these lockdowns, all of these mandates have been enacted without public debate. Justin Trudeau has shut down Parliament. None of this has been debated in any meaningful way. That means they're not laws. They haven't gone through the parliamentary process. Is that just me saying it? No. I mean, I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, but I'm not an expert. However, the only living First Minister who helped create the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms in 1982, the former Premier of Newfoundland, it's not Peterson, Brian Peckford. He's on record, on camera, on a Jordan Peterson interview just a couple of days ago, saying that. So it's not just me. Games, Movies, and Comics R Us has joined. Hi, good to see you in the chat. And they say, hail at the Time Prophet. And Live at the Love Shack is here. Hi, good to see you. Culture Casino. Yes, I've had some vodka. Culture Casino. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah, Fireside Chat of the tree. I know, Culture Casino, you don't get too political on your channels for good reason. You're going to alienate half your audience. I haven't been political before. I've tried to stay about travel and fun things, but this is a turning point in Canadian history right now, maybe world history. This is about freedom. This is about rights. This is about the freedom to bodily autonomy. And I am not advocating not to get vaccines. I'm not anti-vax. Fuck, I've got more vaccines in me than most people. I've traveled. I had to get a vaccine to go into Panama for Japanese encephalitis, the yellow fever. But you know what? The mortality rate for that is somewhere around 30%, I think, is from memory. You can get physical disabilities that are lifelong, 50% chance of that. This is not the same. This is apples and oranges. The restrictions put in place haven't been justified. Had they gone through the parliamentary procedures, had they been open to debate, I think you won't have the anger, the unrest, the unhappiness that you're feeling right now in Canada, the protesting. This has not been gone about in the right way. I have studied the Canadian Constitution in university. I've paid money to do that. I'm not an expert, but I do know that the government has not demonstrated to the Canadian people that the restrictions they put in place are the only ones that are going to work. They've not demonstrated that the restrictions on our freedoms are justified due to the threat and danger of the virus, the COVID virus. And they have not demonstrated that this is the only way to go about doing it. Those are constitutional requirements for you to have as a government to be able to put in restrictions like this and override the Constitution. And people say, oh, well, this is an emergency situation. Yeah, you think the people that created the Constitution in Canada didn't think of that? The British North America Act, the BNA Act in 1867, describes situations like this. The Canadian Constitution, 1982, Charter of Rights and Freedoms, says that, yeah, you can override these freedoms, but these are the requirements that you must demonstrate to be able to do that. They've just ignored that. I think, and I'm not the only one that is saying this, that Canadians have been too complacent. Myself as well. I've been too cynical. I thought, well, there's no point in fighting this because it's just the way government is. You know, I won't bother to vote. I won't bother to become involved in politics, and that's what the government has taken advantage of. And we're to blame. We're guilty. Thanks to the truckers for standing up and getting us out of this, and Canadian people just standing up everywhere. So in the chat, Molecular Arts has joined us. Hi, good to see you. Australia does not have a Bill of Rights, Molecular Arts says. Well, and I've had Canadian friends who've said, well, Canada doesn't have a constitution. Well, no, we don't have a constitution like in the same sense that the States does, one document. But we do have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and we do have recognized constitutional documents, both in writing and not in writing through precedents in our courts. And you put all of these documents together, you put all of these laws and precedents together, and that forms our Constitution in a sense. And it's not me saying this. It's people that are far more knowledgeable and wise who've said this. And that's what's being violated. That's what we're pissed off about. So in the chat, Live at the Love Shack says, make Canada an absolute monarchy again. Well, that would be certainly better than the tyranny we have right now. I mean, I've said Parliament is shut down. We have 14 parliamentary bodies in Canada right now. These COVID restrictions and mandates have not been meaningfully debated in any of them. Justin Trudeau has shut down Parliament for the most of COVID, for the duration of COVID. This is exactly when we need debate the most. Are we pissed? Yeah, we're pissed. Did it take us a long time to get to this point? A little too long? Yes, probably. We're pissed. All right, in the chat. The Wookiee Supremacy says, hi, Spidey. Wookiee Supremacy, great to see you here. Good to see you. D. Oberg in the chat says, for the truth. For the truth? It's cold. My lips are freezing. For the truth, watch Rebel News. Yeah, you're right, D. Oberg. You know what, D. Oberg? I've known you for probably 2 years now. I've just made you a wrench. You're a moderator, buddy. if you have a link to Rebel News, feel free to put it in the chat. Anyone, if you want to put any links in the chat to what's going on in Canada right now, please go ahead. They're both for and against. I mean, we're not going to stifle debate. I'm not fucking Justin Trudeau. I'm not going to shut you down just because you disagree with what I'm saying. I'm sorry if I'm shouting, but I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about this. Yeah. So I usually don't get political. I like to stay light. I like to stay talking about travel. I like to stay positive, but I do believe this is positive. I think this is a new beginning. This is a new start. Canadians have woken up, and we've realized that we're not alone. It's just not a couple of us. There's a large group of people who are surrounding the Parliament buildings in Ottawa right now, and for every one of those people, there are tens and hundreds and thousands that can't get to Ottawa. But we have the same concerns. We have the same feelings. We're pissed. Thank you. D. Oberg in the chat has put Rebel News link in the chat. That's awesome. Moira Kitty says, I am not a wrench. Well, Moira Kitty, we will change that right now. How do I do that? I just do this. Welcome and thank you. There's no obligations with being a wrench. Oh, hey, thank you for getting that bot. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's no obligations. The wrench, I mean, trust me, I know being a wrench is a lot of work. It's a lot of responsibility. So if I know you, I'll give you a wrench. No obligations. Jeremy Ratzlith, I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome to the channel. Jeremy Ratzlith in the chat says, hey, just joking. Where are you located and how cold is it? What were you joking about? I didn't see you before. Let's scroll up and see. What were you joking about? I am in the Okanagan, in the heart, in the center of lower British Columbia. That's about 5 hours east of Vancouver. I'm basically halfway between Vancouver and Calgary in a section of British Columbia called the Okanagan. It's beautiful. We have warm weather here. Right now, it's a couple of degrees above freezing, which for most of Canada, I know in Ottawa, the protests are going on right now. It's minus 30 with the wind chill. I mean, there's thousands of people going outside, standing up for their rights, letting their voices be heard in minus fucking 30 degrees all across Canada. I don't know if you've seen the convoys coming across Canada, but people have gone outside in hundreds, in droves, in thousands, tens of thousands, if you add them all up, in minus 30 degree wind chill weather in the middle of fucking winter in Canada. That's determination. That's determination. And that's what Trudeau's against. That's what he is underestimating. The determination of Canadians. He doesn't know how pissed off we are. And we're not a violent people. The mainstream media keeps saying, oh, there's going to be violence in Ottawa. There's violence. First of all, the truckers that are protesting, if you have a criminal record, you think you're going to be a trucker for long? No. These aren't terrorists, you fucking idiot, Trudeau. Fucking idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. In the chat, Live at the Love Shack says, don't be light, be strong. Molecular Arts in the chat says, D.O. Berg, Canadian, make you one. Yeah, I will. Absolutely. The Time Prophet. Fuck, are you not a wrench? You are now, buddy. I know you. The Time Prophet says, I just put up a link, but it probably got blocked. You know what? I am having a really hard time. When you go on YouTube and you Google live Ottawa truck Freedom Convoy protest, they'll the first ones that come up for most of the pages, CTV, it's mainstream media, it's legacy media, it's CTV, it's CBC News, it's the mainstream media. Ottawa Walks is a channel of just a YouTuber walking around doing live shots. It's just live streaming of what's going on in Ottawa right now. You can find it, but it's being fucking buried. The videos that I just showed you on my phone of Justin Trudeau calling unvaxxed people racist, misogynist, unscientific. It's really hard to find that video. It's being buried, but I just showed you it. And I'll do a video about it again. Molecular Arts in the chat says, in my experience, cats like scratches behind the ears. Yes, they do. Moira Kitty probably likes scratches behind the ears. D. Oberg has in the chat a bunch of trucks. You're right. I've heard there's thousands of trucks. I've seen, and it's not the same video of the same 5 trucks driving by. No, fuck you. The lineup of trucks is upwards, the smallest estimates I've heard of 43 miles long, upwards of if you add them all together, 200 miles long. That's the magnitude we're talking about. And for every one of those guys in the trucks and girls in the trucks, there's tens and hundreds and thousands of them, of us standing in solidarity behind them. It's like John Chalk's wrenches for everyone's. No kidding, Molecular Arts. Well, I know all you people. I recognize every fucking one of you. Live at the Love Shack. You fucking definitely deserve a wrench, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nerat and Naxman Bear says in the chat, I can't be a wrench because I would go mad with power like Justin Castro. You know what? I accept your sarcasm, and I'll raise you a wrench, sir, or madame, whichever. I don't care what you identify with. Well, you identify as a bear. Whichever, man, woman, I don't care. All are welcome here. And in the chat, the Time Prophet says, here is Ottawa live. Yes, awesome. If I was better at this, I'm sorry. I'm a beginner YouTuber. I'm busy. I live in the country. I don't have time to go online and find out how to YouTube properly. But if I was a professional like Jeremy the Quartering or even Doomcock, if I had Kelvington help me, if I had Kelvington as a producer, there'd be a little up here, a little screen in the corner of a live shot of Ottawa right now. That would be awesome. Molecular Arts in the chat says 26 degrees Celsius equals 79 Fahrenheit. Yes, well, it's nowhere around 26 degrees Celsius right now. Right now, I'd probably say it is right around 0. That is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the freezing point of water. The Time Prophet in the chat says, Jeremy hasn't got your scenery. No, he does not. That's what I'm counting on. Christmas tree and a bonfire. Come on, folks. And talking about the Canadian Constitution. Do I know everything about the Canadian Constitution? Fuck no. Am I an expert about the Canadian Constitution? No. Have I read it? Yes. Have I read it more than once? Yes. Do I know that the Canadian government right now is violating it and that the mandates that they've enacted have not gone through the parliamentary procedure and therefore are not actually legal? Yes. Am I the only one saying that? No. There are people much more informed and knowledgeable about this subject, speaking about it right now. Okay, and back to the chat. Narat Amaxaman Bear says, when I looked earlier, most live streams were from or about Canadian truckers. That is awesome. That is awesome. Good. Edge of Time says in the chat, car kill switches mandatory by 2026. Can't wait until that gets hacked. Signed into U.S. law today. Are you talking about what I think you're talking about, Edge of Time? That there's a kill switch in your car that can be activated remotely by some authorities that will just disable your car? No. Well, I guarantee you there's going to be a whole, if that's true, if that is what you're talking about, there'll be a whole submarket of mechanics out there that will easily disable that in a heartbeat for you. And there'll be YouTube videos about how to do that exactly. No, we're not going to stand for that shit. We are free people. And people keep talking about, well, you know what? It's your obligation to protect the lives of others. Yeah. And so forth. I'm not going to actively do harm to others, yes. But is it constitutionally Is it in the Constitution that I have to get injected to protect my fellow Canadians? No, it's not. In fact, the Constitution states very clearly that others' safety is not my obligation. I am not obligated to make sure that everyone else is safe. I cannot go actively harming others. And if they want to wear a mask, if they want to get vaccinated, I'm willing to have my tax dollars. I've paid tax dollars to go and support that. I'm not ever going to tell anyone. In fact, I haven't seen anyone tell people that I'm going to stop you from getting vaccinated. That we should have people come and force you to not get vaccinated. You certainly see it the other way around. You fucking certainly do. Anyway, in the chat, the Time Prophet says, that is why they want people to have electric cars. They can take over your engine. Possibly. You know what? Edge of Time says cops to shut down your car. Yeah, no doubt. Narat Maximanbear says, even worse than cops stopping your car. How about politicians and spooks stopping your car? Exactly. Exactly. He also says, the Time Prophet in the chat says, I know Canadians have always been laid back. Is this the turning point? Yeah, we've been laid back. We've been laid back. I don't know if you can hear the passion and conviction and fucking determination in our voices. We're not. We are laid back. We are docile. Yep. And you know what? We waited 2 years and we've been pushed and we've been pushed and we've been pushed and we stood and we've taken it and we've been waiting for the process. We've been waiting for sanity to return and we've had faith that the process will turn around on its own, and it hasn't. And Canadians are tolerant and peaceful and laid back until a point that it's gone too far, and now's the time. Now we're pissed off. Now we're upset. We're not going to take it. We're not. And what are we determined to do? What are we prepared to do? Anything and everything. We are not complacent. Not when it comes to our freedoms. Not when it comes to our basic rights. Not when our government insists on dividing us by fear and coercion. We're not going to put up for it. We are not friendly to people who are going to take away our rights arbitrarily and step on us. We're not friendly to those people. And we will stand up. Yeah, fucking rights. We know how to make fire, right? We're pretty good fucking shots, too. Not that I'm advocating violence. But we can defend ourselves, is what I'm saying. We can defend ourselves. The Time Prophet in the chat says, Narada Maximanbear, I would rather not have a car than have it controlled. And you know what? Fucking right. Do you know how many horses are around me right now? Yeah, we don't need cars. Not here. Molecular Arts in the chat says, of all tyrannies, a tyranny sincerely exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. I've read stuff like that. It would be better to live under robber barons than under omnipotent moral busybodies. Oh, I have heard it. It's by C.S. Lewis. Well said, sir. We can go back to horses. You're right, Narada Manamax Bear. I probably mispronounced that, but I've had quite a bit of vodka, and I'm going to have more. It's fucking one of those days. Cheers. Absolute vodka. Cheers, folks. All right. Bear with me. I'm going to get the fire going. Jimmy Raslith. Hey, welcome back. Glad you're here. Carol's Cookies. Hi, glad to see you. I had to start another stream. I had a technical issue. I unplugged my camera accidentally wrong switch, and I think that killed the. I couldn't get, and then I plugged it back in, and the camera wouldn't come up live again. So, I'm not sure, but the Comic Relief Crusader says rebellions are based on hope. I rebel. Have we not learned from history? Apparently, we haven't. Carol's Cookies says haircut, Spidey. Yes, I got a job last week. I should have told them my start date would be next week so that I can be in Ottawa right now with the protesters with the truck convoy for freedom. However, I didn't realize how big it was. Holy shit, did you just see that fire jump out at me? That's probably hot too. Ow, yeah, that's hot. Ow, ow, ow. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. There we go. Let's build this fire up a bit more. But yeah, I had to get a job. So and I had trouble getting a job because many people are requiring you, if you want a job for the federal or provincial governments, you have to be vaccinated. And they're making it hard for you to get a job without being vaccinated. I've had COVID. I had a cough for 4 days. I don't need to be vaccinated. Anyone that needs to be vaccinated, wants to be vaccinated, wants to wear a mask, I will never tell you not to do that. Do whatever you feel is necessary, especially if you're old. If I was 80 years old, I might have a different opinion. I'm never going to tell you, and most Canadians will never tell you not to get vaccinated. Most protesters, by far, are not going to tell you, you can't get vaccinated. Don't wear a mask. No, fucking do whatever you want. That is what this protest is about in Ottawa right now. That is what Canadians are waking up to. The right to do, as long as you're not harming other people, what you want. That's what it's all about. Raquel SSG says, hello, y'all. Molecular Art says, or those who will never will, to be classed with infants, imbeciles, and domestic animals. Yeah, no kidding. I will never get vaxxed. The only way, if an injection ever goes into my body, when that happens, I won't be breathing. I'll be dead. Like, you're never going to put an injection into my living body. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. I don't care. And I'm not anti-vax. I have vaccines for almost every fucking thing you can imagine. Every, Japanese encephalitis, hep A and B, all of the normal childhood vaccines. I've got them all. I'm not anti-science. Fuck, I paid money to study science in university. I believe in the scientific method. Of course. Anyway. Jimmy Ratliff says, do you have a religion, faith? Does that influence your views on government and mandates? I'm not sure what religion would... I mean, yeah, I went to Sunday school, as most Canadians did as a kid. I'm not religious currently, no. I've been around the world a lot. I've seen that had I been born in many other countries, my religious views would be completely different. So that sort of got me thinking, well, then how... If they can be subject to change that easily, then maybe that's not for me. I'm stepping around that question a little bit, yes. But no, I'm not religious, and they're not influencing my... No. What's forming my opinions on this political situation right now is my schooling, I guess. The time in university that I studied the Constitution. When I was young, 18, 19, 20, I was involved in politics. I helped count votes locally where I was living on the East Coast in New Brunswick. I was in part of the election. I was putting up signs all over the city of Fredericton. I helped count votes. I was very involved in the political process. I've been involved. I don't like to talk politics on my channel, but this has got to the point where I can't stay silent anymore. There's a famous quote, all that evil needs to flourish is for good men and women to stay silent. Am I a good person? Fucking rights I am. Do I have faults and flaws? Yeah, of course I do. I'm human. But I'm not going to stay silent anymore. And I don't care if it costs me whatever. YouTube can shut me the fuck down. I'll start up 10 other channels. I don't care. I'm pissed. And I know our Constitution. I own 4 copies of the Constitution. To be fair, to be completely transparent, I've read the Constitution before. I don't physically have them here. They're en route. Otherwise, I'd be showing it to you. They will get here. But yeah. This, Moira Kitty, what do you mean I'm still streaming you? Have you figured out how to put this on your channel? So this video, I don't know how YouTube works. I'm just into this. I appreciate it if you have. I appreciate all support. KH in the chat says, New Brunswick is my home. I now reside in Ontario. Gah. Dude, you're a newbie? KH, you're a fellow New Brunswicker? I grew up I was born in St. John, New Brunswick, in the same hospital that Kiefer Sutherland was, the Victoria Hospital in St. John, New Brunswick. It's since been torn down. Not sure if I had anything to do with that. But East Coast, yeah. And then I spent all my childhood, first 25 years of my life after St. John, in Fredericton, New Brunswick, the capital city. Then I moved out to BC. So I spent half my life living on the East Coast, half my life living on the West Coast. It gives me a perspective. Ontario, yeah, I've spent time in Ontario. I've been to Petawawa. There's a huge army base in Petawawa. Yeah, I've done canoe trips down the Petawawa River. Yeah, buddy. Hell to you. Alive at the Love Shack says, make the Thunderdome great again. 2 Prime Minister candidates come in. 1 candidate comes out. The judge in and declare the remaining man standing the winner. Fucking A. All right, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll go in against Justin Trudeau in the ring. He's got boxing experience. He's got amateur boxing training. You can find videos of that. I have none. I don't care. He's toast. I'll fucking take him down. I give him 20 seconds. 20 seconds. And I won't even sweep the leg. Yeah, Cobra Kai reference. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'm 5'6". He's got the height advantage. He's got the reach advantage. I'm 145, 150 pounds. He's got the weight advantage. I think we're about the same age. I'll take him on. I'll go in the ring to stand up for what I believe in. I'll fight for my rights. I'll definitely go in the Thunderdome against Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau, I challenge you to a boxing match. Me and you. I have no experience. I don't even need a trainer. I don't need a coach. I'll go against you right now. I'll fight for my right to travel back east and see my family. Fuck yeah. You're going to lose. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. You're on the floor face down crying for your mama. Guarantee it. I'll pay my own way. I'm biting my tongue hard here. I don't want to get investigated by the federal fucking police for what I might say. Anyway, back to the chat. The Comic Relief Crusader says, live at the Love Shack. I would pay to see that. We all would. Abso-fucking-lutely. I think a lot of Canadians would. Moira Kitty in the chat. Congratulations on the wrench. She says, go get him, Spidey. Fucking A. Right on. The Time Prophet says, Canadian Spider-Man, would you win again, Putin? Would you win again, Putin? Oh, would you win against Putin? Yeah, I've seen Putin. Putin's pretty built. I don't know if he lives in the country, though. I live in the country. I chop wood. I dig holes. I move stuff every day. I'd take Putin on. Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Putin, bring it on. I don't care what advantages you have. Bring it on. If you're going to stand against freedom, if you're going to stand on people's rights, yeah, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll go up against you too. I don't need a coach. I don't need a trainer. Absolutely fucking not. Nirata Maximan Bear in the chat says, Justin looks like he's been eating a lot of really fancy food and wine. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yeah. I can't go to restaurants. My government says that I'm a danger to people. I don't have a vaccine, so I can't go to restaurants. Even though the last time I checked last week, 80% of people in British Columbia, where I am, in the hospitals, are fully vaccinated. And you have to dig deep to find those numbers. You have to dig deep to find those numbers. But it was reported in the Abbotsford newspaper, the Abbotsford Gazette, or the Abbotsford Free Press, or whatever it was. In which is Abbotsford is part of Vancouver. 80, what did they say? 16% of people in the hospitals in their region were non-vaccinated. 5% were unknown, and the rest, the 80 whatever percent, were double vaxxed, and they're the ones in hospital. So I'm not sure what Justin Trudeau keeps saying. Well, listen to the science. Well, where's the fucking science on that? Ben Franklin in the chat. Hey, I've not seen you before. Welcome. He says, God bless the truckers. I'm not personally religious, but I will take that and I will accept that and I will say rock on. Fucking A. Back to the chat. Ben Franklin says also, I can't go to restaurants in Chicago either, brother. Chicago! I got a good friend in Chicago. I taught English with him in Japan, and I'm not going to dox him, but I'm just going to say shout out to Tony. Tony is, I'm going to say his heritage is Latin American. Shout out to Tony. You're in Chicago, and he's been to Japan. He knows what's up. Ben Franklin in the chat, continuing on, says, makes me disheartened that people are staying silent. Stay strong, brother. Much love, man. Thank you. I'm sorry the camera fucking does the autofocus. I wish I could change that. I need a producer. Who works for Beer and Weed to come on and help me. Put up here, there would be like a live stream from Ottawa right there. I'd have other people on the panel. We'll work on that. But right now, chat, you're providing great company. Thank you. Live at the Love Shack says he has a fire by his side and a burning bush by his back. He must be a holy man. I don't claim to be a holy man. I'm not much for other people interpreting spirituality. I think we're all capable of interpreting that ourselves. But if you need help doing that, sure. I'm not going to tell you no. I'm not going to say no. Moira Kitty, I see your hearts. Yep, we got the Christmas tree. Can't really see it. That's the axe. There's the head of the axe right there. The shaft of the axe. Yeah, that's right. Shaft. I said shaft. Giggle as much as you want. Oh, I'll show you the axe. You want to see the axe? Of course you do. There's the axe. It's a Fisker. I have a couple of Canadian axes as well. Not with me. In the chat, Moira Kitty says, people interpreting religion is a political problem in my party here. Yeah, I mean, separation of state and religion is a thing, right? And I'm never going to tell anyone who wants to believe in religion not to. No, it's you do what you want. As long as you're not forcing it on others, you can go ahead and believe whatever the fuck you want. I mean, all the power to you. I will fight for your right to believe in those things. I'll risk my life. I will fucking risk my life for the right to believe in what you want and to say, as long as you're not spewing hatred, legitimate hate speech, say whatever the fuck you want. If you're religious, you're welcome here. I personally don't believe in religion, but what the fuck do I know? I'm a guy with a bonfire and a Christmas tree and a bottle of vodka. In the chat, Ben Franklin says, I can't wait to move down to the southern United States and become a country boy. Fucking A. There's been a couple of cars go by the road here, but we've got a road not too far away in the distance there. I don't know if you can hear them, but this is basically the remote country. I recommend the country. There's no authorities here. There's no people here to tell us that we can't gather around bonfires. There's no one here to tell me that I can't go do stuff. But this is the protests in Ottawa right now for freedom are mostly for people in cities that do have cops all around them and do have authorities all around them and are being restricted. And this is not an anti-cop protest. I think most policemen and policewomen have to do some constitutional training, I would fucking hope so, in order to become a police officer. So if they remember their studies at all of the Constitution, they know this isn't right. They know this is the mandates and the actions that Justin Trudeau have been taking are not legal. So I think we've got support from them as well. Pop culture curator says Russia is not invading Ukraine. Well, let's hope not. The Time Prophet says religion and politics are separate in Britain. And, well, the Canadian political system is based on Britain, from my understanding, from my schooling. And so that makes sense. And there's nothing in politics that says you can't believe whatever religion you want to. Go for it. But don't try and force your religious beliefs on others. And you're free to believe whatever you want. That's fine. The Time Prophet in the chat says it should be separate when most people don't believe in God anymore. Depending on where you are. I think in the States, from what I understand, the majority of people do believe in God or a God. In Canada, about 10 years ago, according to Statistics Canada, 51% of Canadians don't claim to belong to a part of an organized religion. Fair enough. Do whatever you want, as long as you don't inflict it on other people. So, in the chat, Molecular Art says, act as though God exists. Right? Yeah. Act as if you're going to face consequences for your actions. I was raised by a good man. I was raised by a good woman. Several good men and several good women. My grandmothers and grandfathers had parts in that as well. And they all believed in your rights to choose what you believe is right, to believe in what you want to, and to protect and stand up for others that were being bullied. And right now it really feels like the Canadian people are being bullied by our government and by our leaders. To me, it seems that way. Right? Jimmy Raslett, I'm murdering your name, and I apologize for that. And I appreciate you being here. Jeremy, I called him Jimmy. I apologize. Jeremy Rasleth asks in the chat, ever lived in a city? What's the best part of city life? I have lived in a city. Yes. I taught English in Tokyo. If you want to talk cities, I lived in Tokyo. It's a pretty fucking big city. There's as many people in Tokyo and Yokohama, which is basically a southern suburb of Tokyo, as in all of Canada. There are 35 million people, last time I checked. So yeah, I lived right north of Tokyo proper in a little town called Abiko. It's on the Joban train line, about an hour and 10 minutes, unless you take the rapid train, which I didn't want to spend money to do. Yeah, the best part of living in a city is convenience. You can have food from anywhere and everywhere you want. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I've lived in small towns in Massachusetts, outside of Boston, for a year. Shout out to Jen. I've lived in Japan. I've lived in Australia. Shout out to Harry and Lorraine in Bunbury, Australia. I've lived in Northern Territory in Australia, in a little town called Humpty Doo. Arnhem Fruits, the largest fruit packing shed in all of mangoes in Australia, as far as I know. It was at the time. Shout out to you guys. And everywhere I go, freedom is key. Cities, countries, I've lived in both. I prefer the country right now. Freedom is becoming more and more important the older I get. Ben Franklin in the chat says, I don't affiliate with any religions. Just believe in God or someone creating the universe and this existence we know as reality, but who knows? Exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. Absolutely. Narada Maximanbear says, do you ever see any Sasquatch, Ogopogo, gnomes, or Wendigo out there? Well, first of all, Narada Maximanbear, how the fuck do you know about Ogopogo? Ogopogo, the other creatures you probably have recognized or heard of, Ogopogo is specific to this region in the Okanagan in British Columbia. Lake outside of Kelowna, just about an hour and a half away. There's a cousin to the Loch Ness Monster called Nessie. It's called Ogopogo, and he lives in the lake, very similar to Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster. So have I seen him? No. Have I seen Sasquatch? No. Have I heard him? Yes. I've spent a lot of time in the woods. I believe I've heard him. Haven't seen him. I haven't seen any of those. No. Not yet. But if I see them, you guarantee I'll get them on video. Okay. I'm losing the chat. Sorry. In the chat, the Time Prophet says, Canadian Spider-Man, it's cool how we can see those glowing eyes behind you. Yeah, man. Christmas trees and the fire. Okay. The Cosmic Relief Crusader says, I won't. Sorry. You won't? You won't what? Humpty Doo. Yes. Narada Maximanbear. Humpty Doo is a small town. It had one gas station, one post office, and one convenience store. And they were all the same building. It's about on the highway, maybe half an hour south of Darwin. I want to say southeast from memory. That's going back 20 years. But yeah, Arnhem Fruits. Citizen 333 in the chat. Hey, man, good to see you. Good to see you here. Cheers. Live at the Love Shack says, not part if an organized religion. Liars. Everyone knows Canadians love hockey. Ooh, is hockey a religion? Fuck. There's probably a couple of anthropological papers on that. You might be right. Hockey is a religion. In that case, all hail Wayne fucking Gretzky. Wayne fucking Gretzky. He's the prophet we need. We need Wayne Gretzky to lead us out of this. And if you don't know who Wayne Gretzky is, stop watching this stream and go Google it right now and watch him. Yeah. The Time Prophet says, Canadian Spider-Man, where have you been in Britain? Not nearly as many places I'd like to. In England proper, I've only been to London and then on the bus ride to the Dover and across on the ferry a few times. I don't think I've taken the Channel. I don't think so. No, maybe I have. but I've been to London and around, and I want to do a road trip all over England proper. I have been to Scotland. I've done a road trip around Scotland. I've done a road trip around Ireland as well. Rented a car and done that in Ireland. Scotland, I had a friend, Scottish friend. Shout out to Callum Ferguson. Callum Ferguson, you big boofhead, wherever you are, man, I love you. Shout out to you, buddy. That man can, holy shit. Yeah, he knows how to show a Canadian a good time. But yeah, he grabbed his little car and he took me and my girlfriend all around Scotland and showed us some parts where tourists don't get to see. So that was awesome. I would like to get a car and drive all around England and live stream it. Fucking A. LDG Geeks enjoy. Hey, yo, man, good to see you. I had to start the stream again. The other one had some issues. Wally Sponagle. You keep changing your last name, man. I love it. Good to see you here. Jeremy Ratslith in the chat says, still waiting to hear your favorite movie from the past year. The favorite movie from the past year. One that I've seen. I've only seen one, Ghostbusters. It was halfway decent. I would have liked to have seen the original cast more, but it was pretty good. The best movie that I haven't seen is a movie called Nobody. And I need to see that. I'm also waiting to see Spider-Man No Way Home. I can't see it. I'm not vaccinated. Apparently, I'm a great dangerous threat, so I can't go see it. Legally, in my province, I would like to. No spoilers. Don't tell me. No spoilers. La, 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 la. I haven't seen it. I've avoided it. In the chat, the Time Prophet says, Canadian Spider-Man. Unfortunately, most Britons think of London as a foreign country. Need to come to the Midlands, where Middle Earth was invented. I fucking agree. I've got friends in Sherwood. Yes, Sherwood Forest. I've got friends. Shout out to Liz Dark. 30 years ago or 20 years ago, she was somewhere around that area. Nottingham. Not sure if she still is. Her and some other friends there. Hopefully they are. Okay. And in the chat, Jeremy Ratzlett says, still waiting to hear your favorite movie from the past year. Okay, I just answered that. Nerado Maximan Bear says, yeah, because rollerblades are embarrassing for some reason. I have gone on rollerblades. I prefer ice skates. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, who cares what other people think of you, really? I mean, really? Okay, folks, I will get back to the chat. I've just got to stir up the fire a bit. Bear with me. Oh, yeah. We got some fire going on here. All righty. righty. Sorry about that, folks. I had to take a little leak. Wally Spoonagle. Man, I love you. I love you changing your name. Hey, and if a few of you I haven't recognized, if you're new here, I normally don't talk politics. I normally talk travel. But right now I can't travel. My government says because I'm not vaxxed, I can't leave my country. Remember, North Korea doesn't let their citizens leave, sort of like that, sort of like what we got going on here. In the chat, Live the Love Shack says, just because you don't believe in God, that doesn't mean that there isn't a job to be taken. Fair enough. I'm not going to dispute that. Okay. In the chat, the Time Prophet says Nottingham is about 30 miles from me. No shit. Oh, well, awesome. Yeah, if you happen to see, she's probably 10 years younger than me. If you happen to see a woman by the name of Liz Dark, give her a high five and tell her that Steve from Canada says hi. Canadian Spider-Man, she's not familiar with. Okay, Ben Franklin in the chat says, coolest story of my life. Okay, cool. All right, let's read it. I met Stevie Wonder. What? Ben Franklin, you fucking met Stevie Wonder about 10 years ago in England. Gave my family and me, either way, whatever, free backstage tickets to his concert that night at Hyde Park in London. Stevie's the best. Are you fucking kidding? Hyde Park. I've been to Hyde Park. Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park. You can get up on a soapbox and speak whatever you want to. Fucking A. No kidding. Stevie Wonder, the man. Hell yeah. That's really cool, man. That's awesome, Ben Franklin. Fucking A. I will cheers that. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. You say that is I think you said that's your best story? Coolest story? Yeah. I'd fucking say that is your coolest story. The only famous person I've met, I sat on a plane and it was a Swiss Air flight. I think we were going from London to maybe London to Germany or Amsterdam. But I was sitting next to a girl that was London to Hong Kong. I apologize. It was London to Hong Kong. Yeah. She was the hairdresser for Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean's hairdresser on the show. That's the closest I've come to meeting any famous persons. I'm thinking Mr. Bean had a hairdresser, but apparently he did. Okay, in the chat, Raquel SSG says, LDG of Geeks and Joy. Hi. Good to have you both here. I'm not sure if you're both still here, but good to have you both here. Narat Maxaman Bear says, did you catch him being able to see? Was there a time when Stevie Wonder could see? Or you're talking to Ben Franklin, obviously. I don't know. I'm not sure when he lost his sight. Ben Franklin says, what a blast. Oh, what a beast. That took like 10 seconds. I think I know what you're talking about. And Jeremy Ratzlaff. I'm probably butchering your name. I'm sorry, man. Says, how many in this chat are hailing from outside of Canada? How many international is this little Fireside group right now? Well, I know that the Time Prophet is from England. I know that. Well, I mean, I haven't gone there and physically seen the Time Prophet, but his claim has been consistent throughout the year or more that I've known you, the Time Prophet. Fairly certain you've never claimed to be from anywhere but England, Britain. Let's see. In the chat, Citizen333 says, yeah, Mr. Bean rules. Raquel SSG says, I'm still here. Well, I hope so. LDG of Geeks and Joy says, still here. Good to see. Hey, Pickles, if you know where I can find the link to let other people come on to the panel and onto the stream, I'm using YouTube Studio. If you know how I can find the link to put in the chat for people to come on here, I know that you're much more savvy with computers than I am. If you're watching this, if you know how I can put the link out there to have people come on, absolutely. Please, I would appreciate that if you'd let me know. I don't know how much longer my voice is going to hold out. And I was hoping to have other people's viewpoints on this stream. Just I'm not technically savvy enough to know where to find the link to put in the chat. I thought I copied the right thing. It didn't work out. If it involved wood and a hammer and screws, I could fucking do it. Let me tell you. If a shovel or an axe was involved, I can fucking do it. So in the chat, and the chat is super important. How many in this chat are hailing from outside of Canada? Okay, that was Jeremy Rathless. Yes. Narata Maximanber says East Washington, Northern Idaho region. Okay, so I could Narata Maximanber. You're probably within a 10-hour drive of me. The closest big city I am is Kelowna in British Columbia. So if you know where Kelowna, British Columbia is, I'm pretty sure I could get to you within a day if I was allowed to travel back and forth between the United States and Canada. Ben Franklin in the chat says, should show off that axe with a demonstration on the Christmas tree. I should. You're right. You're absolutely right. Live at the Love Shack says, Time Prophet, do you know Lord Miles? And he says, go to the high seas and download it. Interesting. Live at the Love Shack. In response, the Time Prophet says, Live at the Love Shack, no idea who Lord Miles is. I'm not sure I know either. To be completely fair, not sure I know who Lord Miles is. Interesting. Live at the Love Shack says, French-Canadian Spider-Man has a preference to be skates over rollerblades. My God, he must be legit. Fucking A. I'm not French-Canadian. I do parler en français, mais mon accent, c'est très mauvais. My accent is really bad. I know enough French. It's about the same as my Spanish and my Japanese, to be honest. I know just enough to embarrass myself and get myself in trouble. I certainly can't hold a cultural conversation, but it's helped me talk with people around the world. I love cultures. I love people from around the world, and having other languages at your disposal certainly helps. I speak English. I speak Pig Latin. I'm not fluent in Pig Latin, but I can work it out. I speak cursive. I'm fairly fucking proficient in cursive. Spanish, Japanese, French, all at a low level, like 2 out of 10. I can get my point across. I did study Italian in university, but the only thing I really remember from that is prego, which means welcome. That's right. Your prego spaghetti sauce, it means welcome. I'm assuming. All right. In the chat, Narada Maximander says, is Lord Miles that guy who travels to other countries and gives away money and digs wells? Cool. The Time Prophet says, how did Stevie Wonder know that he was giving away tickets? He probably wouldn't have. Good point. The Time Prophet. Good point. In the chat, the Love Shack says, Lord Miles is that Welsh guy who traveled to Afghanistan and arrived the day after the Taliban took over. Ooh, bad timing. Ben Franklin says, love Mr. Bean. Yeah, Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, fucking A. Absolutely. What would Mr. Bean do? What would Brian Baitano do? Good questions. All good questions. Citizen 333, good to have you here, man. Says, I've met several famous people all by chance, but my favorite was Lemmy by far. Lemmy? Lemmy. Lemmy. I don't know who Lemmy is. Jack Lemmon? Lemmy? Do Jack Lemmon's friends call him Lemmy? I mean, he was in... What's that one with Walter Matthau? The Odd Couple. Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau. Grumpy Old Men from like 1990s. That was a good movie. Grumpy Old Men. I don't know Lemmy other than Jack Lemmon. Geeks of LG says, I'm still here. Raquel still here. Okay, I'm... All right. Fair enough. In the chat, live at the Love Shack says, I'm talking from Brazil. Really? Fucking A. I've never been to Brazil. Not yet. I want to go. Dioberg puts a link in the chat, says, users, Bean. Okay, that's a Mr. Bean link. That's awesome. Narada Maximanberry. Okay, you know where I am. He says that's a good day's drive. Yeah, but I used to snowplow. I put myself through university having a snowplow business. I can drive for 26 hours, I think, is my record. I can drive for 20 hours to... You're a day's drive, no problem. Lemmy from Motorhead, Citizen 333 says, you know what? I do like music. I'm not familiar enough as I should be with Motorhead. I'm aware of them. I don't really know any of their songs, but cool enough. All right, fair enough. Jeremy Ratzlaff in the chat says, you've been hoping for people who disagree with you to come on to the chat so that you can debate? No, not necessarily. No, not at all. What I'm saying is, unlike our leaders, all are welcome here. No matter your views, no matter your preferences, no matter your beliefs, all are welcome on this channel. And unlike YouTube, unlike mainstream media, your voice, your opinion won't be shut out. It won't be stifled here. You're free to voice your opinion as long as it's not suggesting that other people should be eliminated from the planet, if you know what I'm saying. As long as it's not hate speech, say whatever the fuck you want here. No, the more the better. Absolutely. If you just spend your whole life in an echo chamber, how smart do you really think you are, right? Yeah. So, Molecular Arts in the chat says, as an Aussie, I don't even speak English properly. Well, I've lived in Australia off and on. I think I've been to every state in Australia. I learned to figure out what you guys were saying. I actually love your slang and how a nickname for anyone with red hair in Australia is called Blue. I love that shit. Yeah, no, you guys are awesome. I've got a friend in Australia. His name is Ben. What's his nickname? Any Aussie in the chat, you know what his nickname is. Your name is Ben. Your nickname's Dover. Ben Dover. Of course. I love you guys. I love your language. And yeah, it's English. Pop culture curator in the chat says, what kind of camera are you using? It plugs into a USB port. It sits on top of my screen. It was about $60. It's got a ring light around. It's about that big. It's can I pull it up? I don't think I can. Not sure of the name brand, but yeah, it's just a little ring light, clips out, sits on top of the on the laptop screen, plugs into the side, the USB camera. About $60. It's pretty good. In the chat, the Time Prophet says, molecular arts, Struth. Mate, I'm sure you do. Fair dinkum. I'll translate. When the Time Prophet says molecular arts, Struth. Struth means that's the truth. Mate, I am sure you do. Fair dinkum. Fair dinkum kind of means the same as Struth, although not as strongly. It means, yeah, fair enough. Right? I think I'm translating fairly well there. Jeremy Ratzliff in the chat says, you've been hoping for people, okay, I've read that, to disagree with you. No, I'm just happy to have anyone come on, really. In the chat. Where's Darius Munchausen? Does anyone know where Darius Munchausen is? Let's get him on here. Fuck, he probably knows how to get the link out there in the chat. So, the Time Prophet in the chat says, I have met a hell of a lot of famous people. Would take a long time to list them. Met all three stooges from... Oh, no, sorry, Mike. Not all three stooges. My cursor from my mouse was over it. It looked like stooges. Let me repeat that correctly. He did not say stooges. I think I need more vodka. Met all three singers from Iron Maiden. Gareth Thomas from Blake 7, etc. That is cool. If you'd met all three stooges, that also would be very fucking cool. Either way. Nurata Maximander says, snowplowing seems like a fun job. If you like staying awake for 30 some hours and lack of sleep and out in the snow in your bare hands installing constant velocity joints, universal joints, anyone out there knows what a UV joint is on your drive axle, you know that in the snowplow truck, I'm probably going to go through a few of them in a season. And yeah, when they break is when you're fucking jammed headfirst into a snowbank with your plow stuck deep in the snow. You try to back out your axle, it can't take the torque, and your constant velocity joint, universal joint, those are two different joints. And I do know my joints, ladies and gentlemen. Your universal joint snaps because you got one at each end of your axle. And it's always in your fucking snowbank. So yeah, I enjoy the snow plowing. It was a good business. Cash is good. But turning wrenches at 2 a.m. when you have people that need to get out and go to work like nurses and so forth. Yeah, it's a bit stressful. But I enjoyed it. I always walked around with a big stack of cash in my pocket. He's like, you sell drugs? Well, no, I snowplow. Always have cash in your pocket. In the chat, Live at the Love Shack says, I address you as French-Canadian Spider-Man. Just do positive trolling and confuse the real Frenchman. I appreciate that, man. I parle le français. I eat the poutine. I got some good French-Canadian friends. Fucking A. Shout out to French-Canadians. We are all united. And that is something in Canada in the last 2 years. Get back to the politics. Get back to the crisis in Canada. The crisis in Canada is that we've been divided. We've been separated. The media, the government, our politicians, for the most part, it's been about fucking dividing us and who gets special privileges. And you want to be up here? You fucking got to jump the hoops. And it's about making people afraid and making people afraid of each other. Like, I don't even know if people hitchhike around here anymore. And that used to be a way to fucking legitimately get around, is hitchhiking. People are fucking afraid to let them in your car now. Are you fucking kidding me? I grew up in the 70s, man. I grew up in the 70s where someone was stuck on the side of the road. You'd give them a fucking bottle of water if they needed it, and they'd drink right from it. You used to help people. You used to go to birthday parties with giant fucking birthday cakes. And the birthday person, boy or girl, would fucking blow out the candles. And then you'd hand out a piece of that cake to everybody. There was no fucking masks involved. How have we become? How have we stopped thinking for ourselves? How have we become so dependent on the government to tell us what is right and how to protect ourselves? What the fuck? Anyway, in the chat, the Tech Prophet in the chat says, Molecular Arts, I've learned everything I need to know about Australia from the series Wolf Creek. I believe that's a wine. I didn't know there was a series Wolf Creek, but fucking A. Live at the Love Shack says, I am fluent in Google Translate. Fucking A, man. Yeah, until they stop tinkering with that to control us a little bit. In the chat, Pop Culture Curator says, hey, Spider-Man, sorry if I'm driving, buddy. Sorry, I'm driving, buddy. Did you already answer my question about your camera? Yes, I did. Pop Culture Curator. It's a $60 USB plug-in camera. I can't see what make it is, unfortunately. The microphone is a Realtek. The camera just comes up as a USB plug-in. A standard USB with a ring light. It's about that big around. It's got a ring light in it. It's got two lenses, little green light in the top. I don't know what brand it is. It does have a microphone attached to it. You've got to turn that off and select this microphone to get some better quality audio. Hopefully it's better. Hopefully that answers your question. Neurata Maximanbear says, so long as I can listen to podcasts and music. Fucking A. Molecular Arts in the chat says, fun fact, the omate design of the Ace of Spades stems from the 17th century when James I and later Queen Anne imposed laws regarding the Ace of Spades to bear an insignia of the printing house. Okay, that is cool. That is good trivia. See, where else are you going to learn that? Thank you for that, Molecular Arts. The Time Prophet says, truth comes from God's truth. Straight out of the mouth of God's truth. Okay, I can believe that. Fair enough. Live at the Love Shack says, repeat 3 times, Darius Munchausen, Darius Munchausen, Darius Munchausen, in order to summon the Dark Lord from the deep. Yes. Someone get Darius Munchausen on here. He probably knows what's going on. Although LDG, you're probably the most computer literate person I know. If you know how to work YouTube Studio and put up the link, please let me know, and you'll be the first one welcome on. Right. The Time Prophet. What brand of hearing aid do you use? Says Molecular Arts, jokingly. See, we have no problem making fun of each other here. As long as you don't take yourself too seriously, you're welcome on my channel. I tend not to take myself too seriously. I don't really have a lot of time for people that do take themselves too seriously. You get the impression that Justin Trudeau really takes himself seriously, don't you, folks? You can sort of tell. Yeah. Carol's Cookies in the chat says, the horror movie series, Wolf Creek. I'm not sure if Wolf Creek is a horror movie series. Don't know. Not sure. Don't know. Carol's Cookies has a good idea. Head on a stick. I'm assuming you're meaning a hockey stick and a politician's head. Not that I would ever condone violence. Sounds like a good idea. Speaking of sticks, I'm going to go get my hockey stick and the Canadian flag up there. You can see it. It's there draped down, but it's not very visible. I'm going to go get it. It looks like the flag is close to the fire. It's not. The flag is more than safe. No worries there. It's all about perception, right? That's kind of what this stream is about tonight. It's all about perception. Anyway. Really? Live at the Love Shack in the chat says the original Spider-Man used face masks before Batman made them cool. All right, cool. Very cool. The Time Prophet says, Molecular Arts, the best Australian movie I've watched was called Malcolm from 1986. I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen a few good Australian movies. I've seen a few good New Zealand movies too. Once Were Warriors, starring shit. I know his name. It starts with a T. The guy that plays Boba Fett. Morrison. Mr. Morrison. Yeah. He was the star of Once Were Warriors. Tamil Morrison, something like that. Yeah. Great movie. Great New Zealand movie. Australian movies, I've seen The Mullet, Nugget, The Castle. The Castle. The Castle has to be one of the best Australian movies going. Timura Morrison, yes. Thank you, Molecular Arts. Yeah. He plays Boba Fett. He played Jango Fett, I believe. And he was in a movie from 2000, I think, or 1999, called Once Were Warriors. And dude is tough as fucking balls in that. If you want to see a movie where Boba Fett kicks ass, watch Once Were Warriors. Dude is hardcore. Like hard fucking core. It's awesome. Thank you. Yes. Tamura Morrison. Yeah. I don't even pretend to be able to pronounce that correctly. Molecular Arts. Yeah. There you go. And yeah, the Mullet. Mullet was a great Australian movie. There's a hairstyle called the mullet, as you know. There's also a fish called the mullet in Australia. And that's kind of what that movie is about. Nugget is about a gold nugget. Cracker Jack. Cracker Jack is a good Australian movie. It's about lawn bowling, sort of. It's fucked up. It's a good movie. But The Castle. I mean, The Castle to Australia is like Strange Brew is to Canada with Bob and Doug McKenzie. If you haven't seen Strange Brew with Bob and Doug McKenzie, highly recommend it. But yeah, no doubt, it is your national haircut. Who is speaking? Molecular Arts in the chat says the mullet is our national haircut. Jason, the cricket player, in 2000, 2001, he was on the national team for Australia. I want to say Jason Gillespie. Jason Gillespie, famous cricket player, had a fucking mullet. If I'm thinking of the right guy, and I believe I am, he had a fucking legendary mullet. Yeah. Anyway, folks, my voice is getting rough. I'm going to end it here. I was hoping to have other people come on the stream. Can't figure out how to work that out. So I think I'm going to end it here. I'm using Wi-Fi. Pop Culture Curator in the chat says, are you using Wi-Fi or cellular? Sorry, I've been thinking about the streaming camping as well. Right now, I'm just on the limits of my Wi-Fi. I've got a repeater and a booster that's getting me the signal out here. I have streamed from Wi-Fi before when I did the Above the Clouds live stream, but I need more data to make that practical. Both seemed to work effectively. They were fine. Molecular Arts. Wow, you know your history. Molecular Arts in the chat says, Canada's first mistake was dropping the Union flag from the top left-hand corner of our flag. I'm familiar with that flag, yeah. And that was in the 1900s, too. That wasn't that long ago, 1967, maybe. Pop culture curators also seen Once Were Warriors and says that's a great movie. You're fucking right, it is. All right, I'm glad, Jeremy, I'm glad you've enjoyed it. This has been good. Sometimes I have fireside chats. Please subscribe. It's a little red button below. There's no obligation. It's free. Hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate it. Thank you. I think we're gonna end the stream here now. I'm starting to lose my voice, but yeah, Raquel says raid the Moira Kitty channel for sure. Going to let you go now, and have a good evening. And I'm glad I had to do a stream because there was some serious shit going on. And yeah, I will eventually get to use StreamYards. It's a much easier program to use. Raquel, I think you've suggested that before. And I'll get on that. I just haven't had time. But anyway, have a good night, everybody. It's been a good bonfire. And yeah, it's been a good day. Hopefully this today with the protest starting in Ottawa, today's the start of something better. Start of maybe a change is happening. Don McDouglas, yeah, man, chill is the way to go. Fucking A. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night, Carol's Cookies, The Time Prophet, Raquel, SSG, Don McDouglas, Moira Kitty, KH, live at the Love Shack. Thank you, D. Oberg. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you all. Yeah, this has been a good stream, and we'll do another one before too long. Fucking A. It's all about freedom of choice. It really is. And honestly, it's about following the Canadian Constitution. You know, if we don't have a set of laws that we all agree to and everyone abides to, regardless of whether you're a politician or not, regardless of whether your status, yeah, we need to follow the Constitution. And it is about freedom. Fucking right, the Tom Prophet. It's about freedom. Have a good night, everybody. I like your arts. Have a good night. Take care.